Hey, you guys, it's your favorite girl in the world. Who else would it be other than me? I'm just saying, right? Miss me with it. Miss Mignetta Nelson, also known as Miss Mimi, the host and the owner of the Miss Me With It Talk radio show on the Miss Me With It Talk radio station, MMWI Network, MMWI Network Radio. And today we are talking the 58 reasons the Detroit Lions have yet to make it to the playoffs. Not the playoffs. Not the playoffs, the Super Bowl, y'all. The Super Bowl. My bad. Cause they going this year. You hear me? They on their way. I'm just saying, might miss me with it, y'all. But y'all watching them Lions. Yeah, y'all see how they doing it. But this is according to someone else. I'm just reading what they wrote. Here we go, y'all. 58 reasons Detroit Lions have never been to the Super Bowl. 9 years ago, my editors at the Detroit Free Press asked me to come up with 50 reasons why the Detroit Lions have never won the Super Bowl. The Carolina Panthers were getting ready to play in their second Super Bowl as an expansion team at the time. And on the golden anniversary of the big game, the Lions had never so much as sniffed an appearance. Well, Super Bowl 59 is less than a month away. And while the Lions still haven't won a championship since before the game existed, they opened the playoffs this Saturday against the Washington Commanders as the favorites to win it all. Go Lions! The Lions won a franchise record 15 games this season and are coming off a first round playoff bye. If they win Saturday night at Ford Field, they'll host the winner of Sunday's Philadelphia Eagles versus the Los Angeles Rams game the following week for the right to play in New Orleans, which is the Super Bowl. We've updated the list of 58 reasons why the Lions have never won the Super Bowl, but decided to stop there. Year 59 feels different, don't it? Okay? Because we there. Feels different. And if the Lions win twice more, they should be at least that many reasons. There should be at least that many reasons why the Lions could hoist the Lombardi trophy for the first time in franchise history. So why have the Lions have been left out for the 58 years, left out of 58 years of the Super Bowl partying? Let's count the ways curated by longtime Detroit Free Press Lions insider Dave Burkett, author of new book Detroit Lions, an illustrated timeline. The first reason, Ford, tough. William Clay William Clay Ford brought the Lions in 1963, and the team has had just had 20 winning seasons in the 61 years since. Ford, who died in 2014, was a nice man who too often trusted the wrong people to build him as a winner. His daughter, Sheila Hamp, runs the organization now and set it on its current path of success. Shout out to Sheila. Shout out to Sheila. 2. Uncle Scrooge. Russ Thomas was one of the people Ford left in power way too long. Thomas was the team's cost conscious vice president and general manager in 1967 through 1989, when the Lions rarely reached the postseason and often got into contract squabbles with players. 3. Booth Review. Matt Millen is the modern day version of Thomas. The Lions lured him out of the broadcast booth after the 2000 season, and he ran the team for one of the worst 8-year stretches in NFL history. The Lions' record with Millen as president was 31-84. 4. Promo codes. Martin Mayhaw took over for Millen a few weeks into the 2008 season and amazingly was retained as GM after the Lions finished the year 0-16. Mayhaw did put together 2 playoff teams, but he'll mostly be remembered for a litany of failed draft picks. 5. Oh, curses. As the old story goes, quarterback Bobby Lane, who helped the Lions win their most recent championship in 1957, put a 50-year hex on the team after he was traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers in October 1958. Of course, he does. Of course, that doesn't explain the past 15 seasons, including the 2024 NFC Championship game meltdown. 6. Just the facts. Barry Sanders was one of the most dynamic running backs in an NFL season, but he walked away from the game with no warning on the eve of 1999 season by faxing his retirement to the Wichita Eagle newspaper in Kansas. Sanders' abrupt departure left the Lions punchless on offense for the next decade. 7. Lucky strike. The Lions took Sanders with the third pick of the 1989 draft after the player they hoped to get, Michigan State Tony Matterich, apologies if I mispronounced your names, went second to the Packers and became one of the draft's biggest busts. Turns out it's better to be consistently good than occasionally lucky. 8. Piano Man. 3 years after Sanders' retirement, the Lions spent the number 3 pick on the draft on a quarterback they hoped would become the face of the franchise. Joey Harrington turned out to be better at playing the piano than football, and he was forced out of town by Stevie Marici a few years later. Apologies if I mispronounced your name. 9. Wide load. In an effort to surround Harrington with talent, Millen spent 3 straight first round picks on wide receivers. Charles Rogers and Mike Williams bombed out in the NFL, while Roy Williams had a fine but unremarkable career. Ultimately, Millen's decision to build outside and doomed the Lions. 10. Second to none. Mayhew fared reasonably well with his first round picks, but the second round was his kryptonite. From Titus Young to Mike LaShore to Mikael LaShore to Ryan Brawls. Draft picks that should have become the nucleus of the team were instead out of the league quickly. 11. Odds and ends. The Lions made the playoffs for the first time in the Super Bowl era in 1970, but dropped a divisional round game to the Cowboys by the odd score of 5-0. The Cowboys got the fourth quarter safety, and Bill Munson threw a late pick off the fingers of Earl McCullough. 12. Right stuff. The Lions made 2 playoff trips in the 1980s and strike short in 1982, and the next season, when they lost to the 49ers 24-23, Billy Sims ran 114 yards and 2 touchdowns in that game. But Eddie Murray pushed a 43-yard kick wide right with 5 seconds left. 13. Washed out. In the 1991 season, the Lions won their only playoff game in the Super Bowl era until the 2023 season, then got blown out by Washington in the NFL title game. Things started bad and got worse as Eric Kramer fumbled on the second play to get up Washington's first of 5 touchdowns in a 41-10 loss. Damn, Lions. But great job, Lions. 14. Cover 2. The Lions won their last divisional cover 2. That's number 14. The Lions won their last divisional title in 1993 and should have won a playoff game that season too. But Brett Favre threw a 40-yard touchdown pass to a wide-open Sterling Sharp with 55 seconds left to give the Packers a miraculous 28-24 victory. 15. Flag Day. Controversy marred the Lions' wild card's loss to the Cowboys in the 2014 postseason, which officials waved off as pass interference penalty midway through the fourth quarter following an incomplete pass on third down. Dallas scored the go-ahead touchdown on its next possession and held on to win 24-20. 16. Whistle stop. Officiating cost the Lions in their playoff loss to the Saints in the 2011 season. Justin Durant picked up a Drew Brees fumble with a clear path to the end zone, but the play was blown dead. The Lions led at the time 14-7, but the Saints ran away in the second half. 17. Pallbearer. 18. Purple Power. 19. Bear in Mind. 20. Arm and Hammer. 21. Quarter Bounce. 22. No Help. 23. Warehouse. It's 58 reasons, you guys. But I want you to go ahead and get his book so you can find out the 58 reasons, okay? He has them all listed in his book, y'all. Let me get y'all. So the book is called, I just passed it, Detroit Lions, An Illustrated Timeline by Dave Burkett. 58 reasons in there. Go check it out. Your host, Miss Minetta Nelson, also known as Miss Mimi. But stay tuned as I tell you guys all the time, this is just the beginning.
All right, let's talk about Jared Goff here and the Detroit Lions, who quite frankly melt down in this game. What a disaster, to be honest. This was not all Goff's fault. Obviously, you look at the scoreboard on the other side of the, what the other team did. You can't put this all on Goff, but there's also no getting around it. Hey, he added to that the scoreboard for the other team, and just in general, this was not his best game. He needs to play better. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of this game. There was some good. Let's start off with this play, because obviously in the first half, all those negative plays are going to be what people talk about. It was really up and down. I mean, the offense as a whole was rolling for the Lions. It was really just them beating themselves. Like, first, this is going to be a Jahmyr Gibbs rush. You see here, this is going to be a great play where, you hand it off. First, offensive line does their job, getting him to the next level. Only one guy to beat, and what does Gibbs typically do? Yeah, watch him. I mean, that speed and his shiftiness while at a top level, it's just such impressive stuff. Credit to Sandstro for just sticking with it as a defensive back, making sure he eventually gets over and makes the tackle. But, that's really good stuff by Gibbs. Which then, of course, can set up stuff like this, like a play action, where it feels like when this Lions offense is at its best, it is playing as though it just feels like there's the comparison I was thinking of, or not comparison, but it just feels like the field's bigger when they're at their best. And what I mean by that is, so you see the play action, watch as when Goff takes the snap, there's so much speed that you have to defend so much further down the field. The play action brings guys in, and now there's just these huge windows. So that's what I mean by it. Doesn't it it feels like they're playing on a football field that's twice the size of a normal football field. Goff makes that throw. They're able to get the big completion. So, good stuff there by the Detroit Lions. There was definitely a lot of this stuff. There was. I mean, and these are the plays the Commanders have struggled with covering all season, really. And I would say as well, there was some really impressive plays by Goff, I think, here as well. I mean, there's this play where it's going to be a man coverage concept. You have a receiver running a route, just, one-on-one matchup. It's Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's your guy here, right? He's the guy you look towards in these situations. Goff takes the snap. He looks over in Amon-Ra St. Brown's direction, fires, and this is not that open. I mean, there's really not a window. You're going to need to put this one perfectly in the right spot for this to be a completion. Goff makes a great throw. They get that completion. I mean, again, it's just great stuff here. So, there definitely were some, really impressive plays. This wasn't even the only play that I would categorize in the very impressive play category. This one where it appears that they're trying to get Brock Wright the ball on the offense's left. It appears as though that's how this play is starting off working. Goff takes the snap. He, fakes the handoff there. That's not really open, so he's going to have to try and figure something else out. Goff gets to his next read, which was actually Dan Skipper. Dan Skipper isn't open, so now he's looking down the field. And you have Sam Laporta, who's kind of open. There is a window, but Goff's getting tackled right now. However, great throw and great catch. So yeah, even when things were going horribly, there were good plays for the Detroit Lions and for Jared Goff. That's absolutely the case, and it'd be unfair to say the other thing. But, of course, The story of the first half was not the good. I mean, it was kind of the good plays that the Lions were making and all the offense and that, but it was the 3 turnovers from Jared Goff. First, this one, the fumble on a 3rd down and 1. I'm going to be honest. I don't know how much I really blame Jared Goff for this play. It's going to be on the left guard right here. It's a one-on-one matchup. And watch how there's just an immediate pressure. Goff gets blindsided and loses the football. He didn't have it protected because he didn't know pressure was coming from his blind side. Like, those are tough. If pressure comes from an area you can see and you don't protect the football, I always kind of put that on the quarterback. When it's your blind side, I always kind of say that's on the, usually it's the left tackle. The left tackle has to make the play. Every now and then it happens at the guard as well. Usually I put that on the lineman. However, the next two, I mean, this play, there's just no getting around it. It's just a bad play. And we saw Justin Herbert do something similar in the Chargers-Texans playoff game last week so you have, it's a 3-man rush. You see the route Goff is going to look towards. Watch as when Goff takes a snap. I'm going to be honest. I know I showed you a quick play where there was a pressure. A lot of these plays, there wasn't pressure. I mean, Goff has a completely clean pocket. It's just a 3-man rush. There's an open receiver, and there's no getting around it. He just airmails this throw. Maybe there's some communication thing. Maybe he thought his receiver was going to run deep. I don't know why he would, though. That doesn't seem to be the case. He's going to end up overthrowing it. It gets intercepted. Then there was a part where he ends up getting hit after he he threw the pass where he had to actually miss a series because of that. That wasn't cool, but, that series ended up in a touchdown on a long play, so it worked out for him. But yeah, still, that was not an ideal play. It was a bad play, and instead of having a chance to go down the field and take the lead, now you're down 10, and even though they were able to go down the field and score, even with that great play, it essentially all worked out to a punt, which is still not a good possession, and that's with a huge offensive score that Goff had nothing to do with, so definitely not ideal. And then here, and this is the thing, and it's probably what worried you if you were a Lions fan at this point with 35 seconds left, you don't need a touchdown here. You want a touchdown. 35 seconds left, a timeout, you're down 10, and you get the logic of wanting to go for the touchdown, right? Because the Commanders get the ball to start the second half. It feels like you can't stop them at all, so maybe you got to just make sure you score touchdowns every drive and hope that you can at least hold them to a field goal or something. That's the logic, but you have to just assume that if you give up a touchdown every drive, you're losing anyway, so you're going to get some stops. You got to get the points that are there. But also, there's a one-on-one matchup, and I think that's what Goff is looking at as well, is, hey, Jameson Williams one-on-one in the end zone, I like those odds. The issue is when he takes the snap and makes this throw, it's also Mike Sandstrom, who's been a really good corner for the Commanders, who's covering, and he's just staying with Jameson Williams, who's not an easy guy to stay with. Goff has to read that, and, I mean, Williams does a lot of things well. He's not really a contested catch guy. That's not his game, so this is not the right decision here by Goff. Again, it gets intercepted. I mean, it's not good. I mean, you gave him 7 points on the pick 6, and then you took away at least 3 points, and who knows? Maybe if it's first down and 10, you throw the ball away, you have an opportunity still to score. You still had a chance to get 7 on this drive. You didn't need to push it here. Just a bad decision. So yeah, I mean, those are most of my thoughts. I mean, again, it's brutal for the Lions and for Jared Goff. This sucks. I mean, it really does. I didn't even show any plays in the second half because I didn't have to. They got down by so much at that point, and really, only other point I wanted to mention on the second half is it kind of felt like they didn't trust Goff at all, which you kind of have to trust your $50 million a year quarterback in a playoff game, right? Even if he's having a shaky game. I felt like they were doing a lot of trick plays, and one of the trick plays went horribly wrong. They were running the ball a lot, which was killing clock. So it's tough, and it was a difficult situation the coaching staff was put in because Goff played poorly. So, yeah, obviously not all his fault, but this was not a good game. At least that's what I think. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And, of course, as always, thanks for watching.